get involved with tonight's show. And there's lots for us to cover as well between now and 9 o'clock as we round up a pretty exciting round of cricket with a few upsets in Division 1 in the Pembrokeshire League on Saturday. And we'll turn our attention to the Harrison Allen Bowl, which reaches its quarter-final stage this week. Matches being played tomorrow, Wednesday and Thursday. And we've got a couple of interesting guests on the show as well. First up, we'll be joined by Eddie Collins to talk Pembrokeshire Pool, which I think is the first time we've done that on the show. And we'll catch up with Rupert Moon and Gareth Schofield after a brilliant Valero Sevens last weekend. Raised lots of money and it was a really well supported cause. And we'll talk British Lions, bit of Wimbledon, some long course weekend and plenty more as well. And that will be your Pure West Sport for this Monday evening. Gordon Thomas, good evening. How are you?
I'm very good, Ben. How are you?
Yes, nice, thank you. A lovely weekend. Plenty of cricket action. We'll get to some of the upsets in just a sec because it was an exciting card of cricket in Division 1. Fraser, how are you?
Not too bad, Ben. I'll get this out the way now so you can chuckle away. I did have my first incident on Saturday where I failed to trouble the scorers.
We were not going to bring that up, Fraser.
No, I wasn't going to actually.
We weren't.
Very honest.
We've all had his luck, mate. Don't worry about it.
But apart from that, there was a very nice weekend. Dan Milford, actually, my wife's in 40 this weekend, so I've treated her to a night out in the marina.
Oh, excellent. You're old
Very romantic.
Yeah, absolutely right. So, Gordon, let's start, shall we, just by having a quick look back on Division 1 and just mention some of the results. Then we're going to get into previewing the Harrison Allen, but I think we will start with cricket. And when I read down the results from Saturday, it's quite an extraordinary set of fixtures, actually, with every game having something on it and a couple going right to the wire as well. Really, I think we should start maybe at Neyland because they were bowled out by Cresselli for 58, and actually Cresselli only did it by 5 wickets, didn't they? What happened there, Gord?
Yeah, I did pop down and catch the end of that. I thought I wasn't going to catch the end of it, Ben, because as you said, it was, they got skittled out quite early, Neyland, and they didn't even have their tea. They stayed out. So, Charlie Arthur had a good game. He had he was the top scorer for Cresselli, and he took 4 wickets for them as well. So he had an exceptional game. But as you say, Cresselli lost 5 wickets, just chasing down just over a half a century of runs. Yeah. But they got over the wire, and they've now moved to the top of the table, as you're aware.
They have indeed. Should mention actually, Christian Phillips took 3 for 5 as Neyland was skittled out. But a great win for Cresselli, Fraser. But for Neyland, the inconsistent form continues, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it's no secret they haven't got the player base that they did last season, and they're struggling a bit lower down as well. I think their third team have appealed for players this week because they've had to forfeit 2 fixtures. It happens like that at clubs sometimes. You do have barren years. Sometimes you have to rebuild and bring some youngsters through, and at Neyland are probably just going through that phase at the moment. But you're right, amazing day in Division 1 because the pendulum has swung again. You know, when Cresselli beat Carew and then beat them in the Harrison Allen, we thought that, they seemed to be in control of this. And then Carew came back. Of course, Cresselli beat them by a Branston last week. Carew went top. They then beat Cresselli in the Dougie Morris. And it seemed all the momentum was with the ruck. And it swung again Saturday. Carew losing, Cresselli back top. And at the bottom as well. It seemed that, Langham were obviously going to go. It seemed that Burton seconds were pulling away from those below them. Burton first were pulling away from those below them, gone above Whitland, gone above Haverfordwest, and you get to Saturday, Whitland beat Burton, and Haverfordwest get that win over Langham. So it's looking like a 3-way battle now for that second relegation spot. And like you say, there was something riding on every game in the league, and a lot of momentum changes on Saturday.
Let's mention Loreni as well, because they had that win against Carew, beat Carew by 2 wickets. It's a first league victory for Loreni in 4 seasons against Carew. Carew were all out for 135. Tell you what though, Phrase, that sounded like a nervy run chase, didn't it? Loreni getting over the line 136 for 8. That must have got a bit tense.
It is. Loreni are capable of that. I think young Alfie Buckle, actually a very good young player, got them over the line with 20 odd not out. But Loreni are the Harrison Allen Bowl winners. They're capable of that. They've come close to silverware for a few years before that. I think Gordon mentioned it last week. And they are a very, very dangerous outfit. The problem with Loreni is they don't put it together consistently enough to challenge for the title, except for that 1 year when they lost it on the final day. But Loreni can beat anyone. You wouldn't want to play them in the running if you were chasing a title, believe me.
No, I have to mention, even in defeat, Sean Whitfield's been in great form for Kerry. He made 35 with the bat, and he almost inspired a win as well, and defended that low total. He took 3 for 39 with the ball, but Loreni just about getting over the line there. Gordon, mentioned for Haverfordwest as well, because they racked up 296 for 7 against Langham. I know, as Fraser says, Langham are struggling, but you still have to score the runs, and they were shared around, weren't they? Danfield 73, Reesall 69, 51 for Chris Phillips. That was a good effort, wasn't it, from the Haverfordwest batters?
Yeah, definitely. Benfield had a few runs. The brothers, they did well. But yeah, Langham are going through a very difficult period. And, they have been struggling to get 11 players to play in their first team. But they played on Saturday. Haverfordwest, who haven't been in terrific form, batted very well, to be fair, Danfield especially. And they put up a good total. Was it 297 runs, around about that anyway? And in reply, they didn't have enough quality, to be honest with you. And Finn Attio, teenager for Haverfordwest, he took 3 wickets or 2 wickets at least. He bowled very well, and there was no way back for Langham.
And just a final mention, Whitland beat Burton by 4 wickets. That was a really good chase in Whitland, actually, because Burton posted a very competitive 202 for 6, but Whitland getting over the line. Jonathan Thomas 74, Gethin Schofield 45 as well. Just in terms of the table, Cresselli lead the table on 172 points, 4 clear of Carey, who are second on 168. Saundersfoot third, and Herbrandston are fourth. But let's turn our attention, shall we, to the Harris and Allen, because it's a really exciting week of quarter-final cricket this week across the county. And let's go through the games that are being played, because they start tomorrow night, 1st of July, which I can't believe June is done and dusted. 2 games tomorrow, Hook against St Ishmael's and Narberth versus Johnston. Right, Fraser, kick us off. Let's start with that Hook game. How do you see that one looking?
Well, we spoke to Reese in the first hour of the show. I think it's a fascinating one, Ben. Both teams going very well in Division 2. I played against Tish on Saturday. They blew us away. They've got dangerous players in this format. Brennan Devnold, Andrew Paulett, we know all about them. Jonathan Paulett himself, the captain. But Hook have got a very strong batting lineup. And you look at the format we're playing in. I know Harris and Allen's 22 overs, but they are T20 champions in that rearranged final day. They're not that for nothing. They've got a very good young athletic side. They're good in the field. Both those teams are going to be banging the race with Narberth to go up from 2. I think if I had to plump for one, I'd say maybe Hook's batting is a little stronger right the way down the line. It is both teams are full strength, but it's a close one, and it's a big opportunity for both teams now, because we've got 2 All Division 2 quarterfinals, and there's every chance you could draw each other. You don't know in the same. We could have a Division 2 side in the final for the first time. God knows how long. We'll be getting a few people will be getting the record books out to check that, but it's going to be a fascinating game, that one.
Yeah, that is. So it sounds like you're just edging towards a Hook win. Gordon, anything from you on that one? Would you agree with Fraser?
Yeah, totally bang on the money there, Fraser. I mean, they're both dangerous sides, and it's a shorter version cricket that I love. And as you say, Hook 2020 champions, and Tish will have to be on their game tomorrow, which they will be. It'll be a very me being an ex-Hook player, I got to go for them. Sorry, Tish boys, but there you go.
Okay, and what about the other All Division 2 game then, which is tomorrow as well? That's Narberth against Johnston. Gordon, I'll come to you first. Okay. Thoughts on that one tomorrow evening?
Again, Johnston are capable of beating any side on the day. I mean, I was watching Steve Mills and Lee Summons. They were batting against Pembroke, and they're both dangerous. They don't hang around, and if they come off, they'll score quite a few runs. But Narberth are just as strong. They got that guy, Muck something. I've forgotten his name. Excuse me, but who is it, Trace?
McKinnon, I think, innit? McKinnon.
Yeah, McKinnon or something, is it? Okay, he's very dangerous. And Narberth are doing very well in the league. But as I said, this is cup cricket. It's totally different. It's all on the night. You have to perform.
It's exciting though, Fraser. We will see a second division side into the last 4 of the Harris and Allen. That's good for the competition.
Absolutely, we'll see 2, won't we? And I think Gordon's hit the nail on the head there. Narberth are clear favourites for that one. But the two players that Gordon mentioned are just crucial. Lee Summons and Steve Mills. Steve Mills, a winner of this competition, obviously with Langer, very, very good, dangerous player. If those two get going, that is Johnson's best chance. They need those two to come off. But I fancy Narberth right across the board in terms of their batting and bowling. It is definitely stronger. They've got Louis Davis at the top of the order there. He can hold it together. They've got a dangerous bowling attack. So I'd fancy Narberth in that one. But, I'd expect Steve Mills to have a big say.
Okay, the one I'm looking forward to on Wednesday, and this is a hard one to call on Wednesday night, Saundersfoot, who are gaining a reputation for being hard to beat in Cup cricket. They play Cresselly on Wednesday. It's a tricky one to predict, that one, I think, and Saundersfoot have had some Dougie Morris success as well recently as well. Fraser, who would you be making favourites for that one? I think that's a hard game to call.
We'll put it this way, I was hoping you were going to ask Gordon that.
I'm very fair.
It is a tough one, boys. It is tough.
And Cresselly seemed to be derailing a bit momentum-wise, didn't they? Lost in the Dougie Morris, like we said, had that league defeat, and then got back on it with a good win on Saturday. So it's going to be a tight one. I think Saundersfoot, Gordon mentioned it last week, that Lamptey lost a couple of Harrison Allen Bowl finals and got close before they actually got silverware. Saundersfoot will be better for that final experience last year when they lost. They're no longer a young established side now. They're, like I said, last season's Bowl finalists. They are a dangerous team. They are contenders. I think with Charlie Arthur in there for Cresselly, if he comes off, I'd be inclined to go with Cresselly. I think Charlie Arthur could play a crucial role, but I don't do it with a great deal of conviction. I'll be honest. It would not surprise me at all if Saundersfoot got through.
Yeah, I think Saundersfoot might fancy their chances, Gordon. It's a tough game to call, isn't it, as Fraser said?
Will. Yeah, Neil Powell and bowling, he'd be chomping at the bit, to be honest with you. The Mansbridge brothers.
Sam Franklin, big favourite on this show.
Sam Franklin again, yeah, good bowler and batsman. Yeah, it's going to be a really tough tie to call. It's all on the evening again. Saundersfoot might have, as Fraser pointed out, they were in the final last year. They'll be eager to try and put that right this season. So possibly that will give them the edge.
We shall see how that one goes. And then the final game on Thursday. And after their defeat at the weekend, you just wonder whether... Well, Neyland will on one hand say playing a Division 3 side in Stackpole gives them a chance to play themselves back into some confidence and some form. However, Gordon, having just been skittled for 58 and then playing a Division 3 side, it feels like a banana skin that. What do you think?
Yeah, I know what you're saying, Ben, but they should have too much quality, even though they haven't had their strongest teams out the last few weeks. But if they can get a few boys geared up and rearing to go, which they should do for a cup game, it should be a comfortable win, to be honest with you. I can't see that really being a potential banana skin, as you put it.
I don't think there's any problems for Neyland there, to be honest with you. And you've got to remember as well, obviously, Patrick Bellaby, who's not available on weekends at the moment, has played a couple of cup cricket this year. So I actually expect probably one or two others in the same position. I expect them to actually be stronger in the midweek cup competitions than they are in the league currently on Saturday. And also, I think a big factor, Ben, is, of course, we've got the Alan Brown final this Sunday between Stackpole and Pembroke Dock in Whitland. And I think Stackpole's main focus on that. And that's a great day, by the way. Good luck to both teams in that competition. But Stackpole's priority will definitely be that final, I think. And they can have a go, of course, on Thursday, and they've got nothing to lose in many respects, and no one expects anything of them. But I expect them to be more focused about Sunday, to be honest with you.
It would be some story, though. Have we ever had a Division 3 side make it to the semi-final of the Harris and Allen? One for the statisticians.
Not certainly.
No, I remember, but there you go.
Yeah, and I know, Fraser, you've actually on the show you've talked up Neyland in the Harris and Allen, haven't you? I think they're the team you think we should be keeping an eye on. Actually, despite the slightly inconsistent league form, you think they're the team that we should be keeping an eye on in the Harris and Allen.
I would never write them off. Sean Hannon, they've argued the best tactical captain in that 20-22 over format in the county. He's he's so experienced. He's won so many finals as captain, and as a unit, like I said, we played them in the Dougie Morris year this year. The unit is fielding. They are still absolutely bang on it. Do you know what I mean? They know exactly what they're doing in that format. They know their tactics are spot on. I would not write them off in either cup competition yet, despite what we're seeing in the league. I tell you that.
Okay, so those games are over the next 3 days. Good luck to all of the quarterfinalists that are in Harris and Allen cricket action. We love the quarterfinal stage. It's getting exciting, and we will, of course, let you know how that plays out right here on Pure West Sport. Now, yesterday was a busy day across Pembrokeshire. In fact, the whole weekend was, because long course weekend was on. We'd love to mention some people who did it. So if you did take part in long course weekend, drop us a message, leave it on the Pure West Facebook page so we can give you a mention. We were there covering the event, and Fraser, it was another tough weekend, wasn't it, for all the athletes who took part?
It was. The weather was kind, and look, it is a great weekend, the long course weekend. Of course, it's a totally different test to Ironman. I know the disciplines are essentially the same in distances, but you're having to almost ease up after a Friday swim, a Saturday bike ride, and then go get a marathon on a Sunday. It's almost more difficult in that respect, because when you're not doing it continuously. No, look, huge numbers again in Tenby. You're professional athletes from all around the world. There were other events to do as well. A 10K, there was a half marathon, side events on Sunday, and a very successful one. And great to see so many local people involved in it, to be fair.
Yeah, it was a brilliant effort, and I have to say, Gord, I like following the video coverage on the Pure West Facebook page, and landmarks like Heartbreak Hill in Saundersfoot become famous, don't they? And they look tricky. The weather, I suppose, it could have been warmer, could have been harder, couldn't it? It wasn't too bad over the weekend.
No, it was good conditions for the athletes, to be honest with you. And there were plenty of people encouraging them up Heartbreak Hill as well. Yeah. Which I tell you what, that takes some doing, doesn't it? But it's been a successful event, and Matthew Evans will be delighted that things have gone well in the long course over the years. It's a run up to the real thing. The September we have the Ironman, so a lot of those athletes will have tested themselves on those particular courses, which they'll do again in September, but they won't have time to sleep on it this time. They'll have to carry on.
No, I have to say, you make a fair point, Fraser, there, actually, because I think, I'm not Ironman's so difficult because it's one after another, but I think the adrenaline probably is still flowing, isn't it, when you go from discipline to discipline? I think the idea of sleeping overnight and stiffening up and how you then feel the next morning to then do, the next discipline, it's tough long course weekend, isn't it?
How you manage yourself after each event in long course is totally different. You have to really get it spot on. As you said, I wouldn't fancy getting out of bed on a marathon 2 days, do you? So it's a totally different test, although it's the same distances.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ben. I don't mean to go back on ourselves here as well. We should say that the power of Pure West Sport on Sunday, Criselli and ladies and hooked ladies made it through to the Scale Fair Cup.
No, I know what you're going to say now, mate. Yeah.
Beyond Ashman, so she can thank us for that. She comes on here and a week later this entry, so we'll take credit for that, Fionn.
Yes, excellent, Fraser, and absolutely no apology necessary for going back on the cricket. That was a brilliant knock. I think Fion's 100 came off 60 balls or so, didn't it? I'm sure she's a regular watcher as well as guest on Pure West Sports, so I'm sure she'll be able to tell us the exact figures, but it was a decent knock, that, and she had good prep for coming on the show last week as well, didn't she? So really well played, Fionn.
I'd call that reckless, 100 off 60, but it worked.
Good going. All right, we are going to come back in just a sec for part 2 of Pure West Sport. We're going to be talking pool actually on the show, finding out about how it's growing here in Pembrokeshire. That's a sport I don't think we've covered for some time on Pure West Sport, so looking forward to that. And before 9, we will have Gareth Schofield and Rupert Moon coming on as well to reflect on the Valero Sevens and also touch on that win for the Lions. Gordon, you did say last week nothing to worry about after the Argentina game, didn't you? And they got off to a winning start down under, so we'll reflect on that as well before 9 o'clock on tonight's Pure West Sport for a Monday evening.
Eaton-Evans and more.